Hello, everyone. Welcome to a bonus episode of the Esau McCauley podcast. I'm your host, Esau McCauley. We're joined here as usual by producer Mike. I need to say that again. We're joined here as usual by producer Mike. It's good to have you, Mike.
It's great to be here. I think we're just going to leave that in.
Okay. And we're also joined by, what do we call her? Like correspondent Lindsey Goetz? Our resident Taylor Swift expert, Lindsey Goetz.
Amazing.
Who does a bunch of other stuff besides that, but on the show currently, she's functioning in this role. Now, some people are going to accuse us, because we're going to do this episode, like a mini episode about Taylor Swift's new album.
Came out today.
And some people are going to accuse us in engaging in a blatant attempt to farm engagement based upon a national story.
Would we do that, Esau? Yes, we would.
Her name will definitely be in the subject notes or whatever, and hopefully get some people to come and listen to it. But we do actually, it is one of those times where the entire culture is listening and thinking about something. So I think that's a podcast that engages culture from a context of faith. This is at least worthy of our note. Now, some might even ask, well, Esau, why didn't you do a emergency episode when Chance dropped his new album? Because we don't have a Chance correspondent. If you want to be the Chance correspondent, you can sign up.
Could I be the Chance correspondent?
No, I need to see your CV.
Okay.
So, Lindsey, first, before we say anything else, I want to get do you have something for me?
I do.
I
do have something for you.
You have something for me. And I see you have a nice shirt there.
I do, yes.
Is that from like one of her tours or something?
It is a shirt that I made last night.
Wow.
It is representative of this album.
Yes. Wow. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, she has a Taylor Swift t-shirt on. And I think she has one in her hand.
And I made one for you, Esau.
Oh, thank you so much. Am I an honorary Swifty now?
Yeah, you are now.
Yes.
Now you
That's
are.
great. Lindsey, where's mine?
I'm sorry.
Lindsey.
You can
next
hold
time
it.
I'll bring you one, Mike. I'll bring you one next time.
Okay, so maybe we'll start with this. What were your initial impressions of the album? Just give us on a scale of 1 to 10. What did you think of the album?
I listened through. I've listened to it twice.
Oh,
twice. I prepared.
2 times. That's 24 songs. 12 times 2 is 24 in mathematician.
Good math. You saw? Yeah. You'll be set when we start our math corner of the podcast. I liked it. Okay. I'm not going to say it was amazing. Okay. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the music of her songs all kind of sound the same to me a little bit.
Be careful. Listen.
But
it's called
I thought the lyrics were very good on many of the songs. There's like a few songs I really liked. There's some good bops in there. Yeah. So I'm going to give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. Oh, okay. Do you want to hear my review?
I do.
I'm not going to lie to you. I got a text from Lindsey who said, these are the 3 songs you need to listen to understand the album.
Whoa.
So I listened to those 3 songs and I kind of skimmed a couple of them. So right now I'm going to give this an incomplete because I haven't heard that.
I listened to it twice. You texted me late last night. We're going to do a Taylor Swift pod. I was like, all right, I'm going to drop everything. I'm going to listen. I read articles. I took notes.
Okay.
And you're telling me all I had to do was listen to 3 songs.
I thought if I got 2 people who had listened to it, I could respond to your response.
You are the kid in the group project. That's why.
That's right.
Hey, just put my name on it.
You picked a good group.
I've been the good group. What did you think of the album?
Okay, I listened to it
enough times.
I'll just say enough. And I also really liked it. Well, I'll say I really liked it. I wouldn't say it's top 3 Taylor albums for me at all, but it is very fun. And the thing I really like about it is that she's kind of combining the like pop stuff she does so well with some of the deep lyricism that she also does really well. And it's really fun to see both of those together.
So let me ask you a question before we go any further on Taylor, because you just said something really interesting. You said it was not a top 3 album for you. And maybe I'm just going to ask you this question, especially people who have their own favorite musicians, if it's not Taylor Swift, to make this a broad conversation. Were those 3 albums that are favorites of yours tied to a particular part of your life? Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, is it possible for someone, what album is this? for her?
Number 12.
Is it possible for anyone to have like a 12th album of someone they followed for a long time be their favorite? Because like most of my favorite artists, I grow up with them and I tie their favorite album to this pivotal part of my life. And now we just have this ongoing relationship. And when they check in, it's just like, oh, this is great. But there's a sense in which you can never match that feeling of either watching someone come into their own or watch someone debut. So are your 3 favorite Taylor albums like linked to like a life stage that makes it almost impossible to implant?
I don't think so.
Oh,
no.
no. So you're...
No, because last year Tortured Poets knocked.
Oh,
knocked
you
one
were a
out.
Tortured Poets fan.
Actually, Tortured Poets is one of my top 3.
Okay, then never mind. What about you? I'm thinking of Outkast, and like my favorite Outkast albums are like the first ones.
I'm not like a huge music guy, but I think in general the music I like best is the music I listened to in high school and college.
Yeah.
And I think it will be hard for any new music to top that.
And even if that artist keeps putting out music, it's like when we first fell in love with them. Okay, so help us to put some context into like what's it called? I'm going to be so canceled. The Life of a Showgirl. Okay.
Wait, Lindsey, before you start, I have a theory.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Oh,
we love theories.
I know. Here's my theory.
Okay.
I think Taylor Swift might be in love with someone. I think she might be in love. There's a lot of songs about a guy.
There's a guy?
It seems like it's serious.
Does he maybe play a sport? Possibly?
Maybe. I picked up on that.
Okay.
I'll have
It's like
to listen.
on a team or something.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, here's my theory. Here's my theory. Red was a preview of when she was eventually going to meet Kelsey, who plays for the Chiefs, whose colors are red.
Wow. Long
Boom.
game. Long
Take that,
time.
Swiftum.
Kind of feels like you're making fun of me.
I'm sorry. I was not.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
not. That was
For
actually
real,
yes,
Lindsey.
for real.
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, we were not making fun of you. You were being ridiculous. So tell us, what I was going to ask you is put this album in the context of her career. Where is this album arriving in the grand narrative that is Taylor Swift's musical career?
Yeah. So this is her 12th album.
Yeah.
It is coming off of like the end. She recorded it while she was doing the Eras tour. So she's doing the Eras tour. She's going and like making these trips to record this album, which is just, I mean, amazing. And I think that's like, as an artist, you have to give Taylor Swift credit because she's doing so much, and the things she makes are excellent. And so it's coming on the heels of the Eras tour, and I kind of see this album as kind of integrating a lot of the different parts of her career.
So how big was this Eras tour that she was a part of? Was it kind of an important thing?
Yeah, it was huge.
Is it one of the biggest grossing?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I believe so. Like the biggest.
So
grossing
is
tour
the
of all
life
time.
of a showgirl being written while she's on the biggest show of her career? Is that somehow integrated into the album that I listen to mostly?
Lindsey just said that. Are you not listening right now?
I'm saying I'm tying the title of the song to what she's saying.
So she's kind of giving us, and she said this in interviews, but she's kind of giving us a peek behind what was going on internally with her as we're watching the Eras tour, right? Yeah. And so it's actually really interesting experience as a fan to listen to, because so many of us followed the Eras tour. Like, I mean, people were watching like grainy live streams of shows, and so it wasn't just like you watched the one you went to, you watched multiple. And so you watched this whole experience, and then now you're getting kind of the diary of that time in her life.
So I know that you just said it's the 12th album, and I want to see if you can say this part relatively quickly. So for those of us who don't know like the 12 album arc, can you say something about the different eras of her career? I know there's a country part, and then there's like a pop part, and then the blue. Like, can you say a little bit about like the albums that preceded this, or like that's like that narrative?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, you know, musically, she's kind of dabbled in lots of different genres, and I think that's really awesome. And because she has built her fan base, she kind of can do that. And I think that's really, it's been really fun to see her do a little bit of like the country, which is where she started. She does some of the pop. She does, you know, the more kind of like toned back stuff on folklore and stuff like that. But I think that one thing that's interesting about Taylor Swift and I are the same age. And so I think one thing that you see with these albums is you really see someone growing up, and you see how people change as they grow, and what are like really natural life stages. She's very honest about them, and I think that's one of the reasons she's so relatable, though she is like a billionaire.
So there's this one line that she said in the album, because you thought I wasn't actually listening. She said I didn't want to get married, but I lied.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was such a like, and I think I don't know if I can repeat the chorus on the song, but the whole point of the song is like, I'm not this tough person that you want me to be, but I'm also going to be myself.
Yes.
And so this idea that like as a youth or as a younger person, there is a way in which that you rebelled against something you secretly desire.
That's right.
I just thought that was a really authentic message. And one of the things that I was taking about this is not to do Jesus juke too quickly. What is it that makes someone an authentic communicator, even when their life circumstances separate them from us? It's the vulnerability. It's the fact that even though you have all of the things that we want, that the society might say that you want, there's certain things that are essential that we all desire. See, there we go. I'm an IRA Swifty? Okay.
Yes. I think that's right. And I think that song that you mentioned is Eldest Daughter, and it's a track 5, which if you are not familiar, the track 5s are typically very vulnerable. Okay. They're very kind of that soft center. They're very, like All Too Well is a track 5.
Ooh, All Too Well.
So these like really deep, vulnerable songs. And actually one thing that I thought was really interesting when I was listening is that she's kind of arranged these, the songs in such a way that these two really vulnerable songs are at the center of the album. So you have Eldest Daughter, and then the next song after that is Ruin the Friendship, where she talks kind of about like you should risk it, and then the songs that go out from there are these kind of like really poppy fun love songs, and then songs about being like a girl boss. And I think that's really interesting because it speaks out what you're saying. She has kind of found a way to say, I'm still going to be this soft, wholehearted person, but I'm just going to be a little more discerning about who I let see those parts of me.
Did you notice that?
I did. You know what else I noticed though?
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I love a good revenge song.
Okay.
And there's 2 on here.
2 burners
that are like, oh snap.
Okay. Who gets cooked?
So
give me the tea because I have no idea.
One is a father figure.
Oh man.
and so it's like I don't remember his name, but it's written about
the Braun, Scooter Braun?
Not Scooter, but probably who Scooter bought the albums from.
Oh yeah,
so who actually had control. And basically like the song starts off that's like you said you were going to be my father figure, help me into this industry, protect me, yada yada yada, and you betrayed me. But joke's on you. Turns out I'm the father figure.
That's right.
I'm your daddy.
The song ends. I was your father figure. You pulled the wrong trigger. This empire belongs to me. Wow. Leave it with me.
Goated.
And
that's right. And like, I mean, I'm telling you, like when Swifties hear that song, right? We picture in our mind the picture that just came out this last year of Taylor with all her albums, right? And it is, I think, also another layer to that as a woman is like, being raised, because Taylor was raised in like a fairly conservative, like being raised and told that like men are going to protect you and then finding out that's not always true. And kind of taking that narrative to say like, I've figured out a way to still be feminine and also like survive. It's a really powerful song.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
And then Actually Romantic, which is like a fun listen.
Yes.
Were you going to say something?
I was going to say something about this father figure thing to kind of like stop and sit with some of these good ideas that you all are giving.
Esau's got his next book ready to go.
No, it's like, someone pushed back the last time we had a discussion about Taylor because she's not the first artist to have her music stolen. That this happened to African-American artists for long periods of time. And so there's this long legacy of artistic theft occurring in music. And I want to grant all of that. But I do want to say, it doesn't matter how rich you are. Like the idea that someone can exploit you no matter how powerful you are and how successful you are, and how this event, and I don't want to be overly dramatic, right? But how this event that could have destroyed her, the loss of her music, actually became the catalyst for the greatest part of her career. Now, once again, I want to be careful because I don't want to do prosperity gospel where God's going to turn your losses into victories and all of those other things. But sometimes these redemptive type of narratives can occur. And the idea that after we've had this tremendous betrayal or disappointment, that there is this life after that is an important lesson to learn. If you want to say, beyond celebrating like the music of someone who lots of people enjoy, what kinds of things are we seeing? There is something about resilience. I know people don't want to see someone who's a multi-billion-dollar or $1 million artist as someone who shows resilience, but someone stole her work and she said, I'm going to re-record all of it. And I'm going to tell you, that's when I met Taylor. I mean, I didn't meet her. I was introduced to her music during the re-recording era.
Yeah.
And so I just think that does give you some encouragement that if it feels like your life is falling apart, and obviously our circumstances are going to be different, there is something of a life after that. And so that idea, I think, is at least interesting. And even, what does it mean to be someone who, after having your heart broken, what are the balances of the kinds of things that you rebuild?
Yeah.
On one hand, you don't want to just be like foolish, right? All of us, I'm going to talk about the church. I'm a pastor. Like, I've been at the church long enough to have the church break my heart.
Yeah.
People who I trusted in and who made promises to me, father figures who said, Esau, I'm going to take care of you, blah, blah, blah. They sent me into places that left me damaged and broken.
Yep.
And now, on the other side of that, I'm not going to be the kind of person who gives way to cynicism and say, I no longer care about the church. I don't want anything to do with it. But I'm also not going to be foolish. And so how do you balance this idea of, here's the wisdom that comes from my trauma, but that wisdom doesn't turn me into a cynic, but it actually makes me someone who is wise and I can steward my heart a little bit better. Right. There we go. So
can I say something about
you
that?
You can say more.
Because I think that actually is one of the things Taylor is doing on this album, like you're saying. And I think that eldest daughter song really gets at that. And I think for Taylor, in all of her albums, one of the kind of like markers of that is this idea of like childhood innocence and the experience of being a child, and kind of the integration of, when I was 8 or 9, I wasn't so worried about all this stuff. I want to be that way, but also wise. And I think that is really beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful thing. And I think that it's worth our time and our attention to see someone working through those questions and trying to become the kind of person who has learned from and been shaped by their experience, but hasn't been hardened by them.
And I think maybe and I just said it again, it's just, to me, what I think is separating a certain segment of the church in this moment is not an analysis of the problem. There's an entire group of people who say there's nothing wrong, and anytime you talk about the problem, you're woke. I'm not talking about them. They can sit over there. This isn't their podcast. This is my podcast. On this podcast, what often distinguishes me between the Christians who are kind of on my side are the people who just feel cynical. And cynical is the wrong word. Cynical is the wrong word. Because I don't want to belittle like what actually happened. Because cynicism is just like, that's too cheap of a word. Like, they're still hurting in a way that it feels like the process of healing has kind of calcified, and it's turned towards like a kind of spiritually destructive pessimism. But I don't want to say that pessimism isn't unearned, but it ultimately doesn't. I feel like everyone who's seen the church for what it can be feels that place. That place is in the Psalms, where Psalm 88, darkness is my only companion. But the idea that there's something after that, it is not even the fact that they're still there. That's not it. I've had people who say like, I'm still in this difficult place and pray for me. It's like, there is a fellowship in the dark. And I said, I want to be in the fellowship of the people who are trying to make their way out of the darkness towards the light. And that's the difficulty. Okay, are we at the place where you said it all has to burn down, or after it burns down, there's beauty in the rubble? And that's what I think that like Taylor's getting to, as much as I can tell from the 5 songs I've listened to. Now, we already got into some of this, but what are some other like questions that she poses, or some themes that she explores that you think Christians are like? I'm a Christian who doesn't listen to Taylor. Like, this is who you speaking to, not the Swifties. Like us, like with the t-shirts.
Right.
Like, but the mic's
me without a
yeah.
t-shirt. Gosh.
So
I listened to it twice.
What kinds of ideas or themes do you think questions that she poses about what it means to be human that are worth us reflecting upon, given so many people are going to be listening to this music?
Yeah. So I think there are so many. And I think, like I said, I think that's one of the reasons that this really deserves our time and our attention. And actually, I'll just say quickly why Taylor's entire discography deserves our time and attention. Wow. Because she is a very reflective person. And I think that it's very good for us as Christians to pay attention to people who are reflecting on their experience of life and bringing their honest questions. And it's important for us to listen to non-Christians do this, especially because they have some answers that they have landed on, right? And so it's helpful for us to see that and to know how they arrived at those answers and to empathize with them and to identify the places in our lives that feel similar and to even question, where am I also actually holding something up as a solution that is not the gospel, right? Yeah. And so I think for those reasons, like maybe personally, it's good for us to listen and to pay attention to stuff like this. She's asking really interesting questions about, is it worth it to be a wholehearted, loving person in a world that is broken by sin, where being wholehearted and loving will get you hurt? And I think that I think she's been asking this question her whole career, but I think one of the beautiful things on this album is that she's saying yes. It is worth it. And I think that's really beautiful.
That is good. Gospel stuff. That's not even a Jesus juke. That's like a Jesus right down the highway. So is there one more that you might have in mind I know there's a lot that you could say.
Yeah. I think the other one that's really interesting to me is that she's looking kind of at this desire between you've always seen her wanting to grow, to be a growing, changing person, and also to be a person who has these deep, close relationships. And there's a lot of tension there. And so you see her wrestling with this tension of, I really want to be close to people, but I really want to grow. And I think that's another thing that's really good for Christians to pay attention to, because that's what our whole life with Christ is, this constant growing and changing. And there are people who are just...
Sometimes you outgrow friends.
Why are you looking at me? Why did you immediately look at me?
No, I was going to say...
Am I about to be fired? No. Is Lindsey going to take my job?
I was going to say that me and you are together going to have to discern who we've outgrown. Like, we're a team. I was like, we should think about this. I wasn't saying that you...
Goodness.
No, we're growing together every day. It gets a little bit like the friendship grows. You're on my fantasy football team.
The one that...
It doesn't exist, but like, fantasy football league. So let me ask you this question, though. So this idea... that sometimes we outgrow relationships and that love is risky. I think as I listen to you say this, and this is maybe the reason why I think that this might be weird, why this gets to the heart of what we want to do in this podcast, the podcast broadly speaking, is I think the culture reveals something about what it means to be human. I think that good art, even secular art, reveals something about human brokenness and human desires, is even if we don't always agree with every answer that someone gives, the ability to raise those questions. And so how do I decide as a preacher or as a communicator, what kind of art is worth my attention? Because I consume all kinds of stuff, some of which will never come into a sermon series. Yeah. But when someone poses a question that I think inspires me to think deeply about how God interacts with it, I think that's great art. Yep. And art that, and so if you want to say, why would a Christian podcast spend 20 or 30 minutes talking about Taylor Swift? It's because Taylor Swift is asking interesting questions. Yeah. And that same interesting questions you can find in among other artists as well. Now, was there something that she didn't mention that you wanna toss out?
Lindsey, you've done such a good job. Let's go over real quick our favorite songs of the album.
Yes.
Okay. So Esau, what was your favorite
song, Esau?
I'm sorry, what'd you say? Actually, I think the Ballad of Ophelia or Canceled.
All right. I thought you would like Canceled. I listened to Canceled and I was like, Esau's gonna like
Canceled. I've been canceled before. So like take that. Me and Taylor are back. But what did she say about the way she likes her friends? I don't know if you know the quote. She's like, I like my friends like who kind of been through it. I forget the language.
I like my friends canceled.
Yeah, I know, but isn't there like it is counsel, but I thought that in the chorus she goes into what she means by that, like rugged, raw, been through the runner. I think there's a part of that, but that's okay. Yeah, I like my friends counsel. There we go.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay. I liked Wish List, which by the title I thought I wouldn't like, because it's wish list and both the S's are dollar signs. And so I was kind of like, what's that song going to be about? But it is a kind of twist on what you would expect from the title. And I just love I feel like it's very wholehearted, and she's just kind of being like, this is what I really want.
Yeah.
God, can I have a best friend who I think is hot?
Yeah.
That's a great lyric.
I thought Opalite was a fun, romantic, optimistic song.
I'm getting cooked on this podcast. I have no idea.
And then like sticking with my revenge theme, Actually Romantic. It's just like a funny, It's about someone, a woman who's been trash talking Taylor, and she goes, "Oh, it's actually romantic how obsessed you are with him."
Oh.
And I actually like, one of the things I love about that song is that she's really playing up this idea that like where you give your energy is what you care about. And I think to your point earlier, like in the church, it can be so tempting to give our energy to these stories that are like really hard and really bad. And like, I also have church hurt. Like, I understand, I'm not trying to downplay that at all. But what I am saying is like, you could also choose to give your energy to building something good. And I think that you get that in that song too. And it's very funny. And I laughed out loud, I think, while I was listening to it. But I also love that there is this kind of deep idea of like, you get to choose what you give your energy to. And
so last question, and now this is going to be hard, and I prepared you for this one because I know that you are a Swifty fan. If you had to push back on something because we don't want this to be a all Taylor love fest.
Sure.
Of course.
If we had to push back on something that Taylor said or some ideas, like where might you say, I'm not sure I'm sold here, Taylor.
Yeah.
So we can we're a balanced show. How can you push back on?
Can I push back on two things if I do them quickly?
Okay, no, two. Go ahead.
I came up with two. Okay, the first one is that Taylor Swift has always been an idealist, and I can relate, but she is still very much idealizing romantic love. I mean, like, there is a lot in here that feels like fearless. And I think that's beautiful in one sense because she is kind of like, after all this hurt and everything, she's kind of reclaiming this like innocence. But also I was like, I can't wait to hear, TS 15 after you've been married for a couple of years,
I had the same thought, man, the divorce album, I hope it never comes. I hope it never comes.
It's going to last forever.
But I was a little less I was like, I can't wait to hear about like things are hard, but I love you anyway.
You went dark.
That's okay. I guess that's fine.
Okay.
The other one is she articulates a lot this like frustration with fame and celebrity, which she also has done throughout her career. And I think she's made a little peace with that, but it's also kind of like, well, but Taylor, like, you kind of love it. Like, you like,
yes.
You have enough resources that you could go live an obscure life if you wanted to. And I don't see you doing that. And that's a choice, but it's a choice.
So to fulfill my Denzel Washington quota for every episode,
we always have to have it.
He is someone who's like one of the most famous people in the world, but you only see Denzel when he's making a movie. Like, he's not on social. He just kind of comes and goes. And there are celebrities who live their celebrity career like that. There's celebrities who are much more public. Okay, do you have any pushbacks on Swifty?
Mine were like the same of just like, some of these love songs the lyrics are a little cheesy and like I've always felt like the tension I've had with Taylor Swift is like, I do think she's been treated unfairly, and I think like the obsession people have had with her personal life is not right. And it's literally what her music is about, that she's made $1 billion.
Listen, people, the Swifties are going to come for you because they've done a study.
And I'm not saying she like deserves to be mistreated, but it's like kind of like, if you really wanted no one to pay attention to you, you have the resources to make that happen.
I think that maybe this is like, as someone who records a podcast a lot and someone who preaches, there's certain people who are now. I feel like I'm coming to. I'm disagreeing with your take.
You literally set us up.
Are you defending Taylor right now?
Do you see what he's done? He's putting himself as the good guy. He was worried that he wasn't going to get enough love from the Swifties because he hadn't listened to the album. So he's like, let me force Mike and Lindsey to say something critical about her, and then I'm going to come to her rescue.
Okay,
he's going to save her from the fate of Ophelia.
What I was trying to see now, I can't even get my point because you think it's not real. I believe this. What I was going to say is, some people, and this is one of the things that I can't help doing either as a writer, not to say that me and Taylor Swift are the same. Some people are just like vulnerable writers. Yeah. And like when I start preaching or when I start like a podcast, I can't help but tell you the truth. Like some people can write in ways that they're completely detached from, but some people are writers who are in the middle of it. And so it could be the case that Taylor, just the only way I know how to write authentically is from my life and the art that comes from there. Now, here's my critique. You think I don't like...
Okay, let's hear it.
First of all, she has like 13 albums. That's or 12? 12. 12. That's a lot of albums. And like I didn't find out about it until like a couple of years ago. And now my daughter is like my younger daughter's a huge Swiftie. And now I got to listen to like 12 albums to figure out half of what's going on. So the problem, my take on Taylor is not that there's too much, but like she got too famous too fast in my family's life. And now I'm like further and further behind because now I got to go listen to the Showgirl album now and like poet. So it's just a lot of work.
I don't
so
know
like
how you
Taylor,
do it, Esau.
I'm going to say put out more EPs. That's my more EPs.
Take a little break. Take
there we go.
sabbatical.
Take a little break. You know, or maybe you want to do a gospel album. You know, do that too. That's, I mean,
that's a good idea.
Her and Kirk can do something. All right. Well, anyways, this has gone way longer than we expected.
We said 15 minutes at the start of this.
We got a lot to say. Thank you all so much for listening to the Esau McCauley podcast. Congratulations to Taylor and on her new album.
And Swifties everywhere.
And her forthcoming wedding to some football player. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you all next time on the Esau McCauley podcast. Thank you. Hello, everyone. If you like this video, please like and subscribe on YouTube. And even if you didn't like this one, you'll like the next one. And please do it, or I'm going to lose my job. And I have 4 kids. And they eat a lot of food.